What's up, love bugs? Happy New Year. I hope everything went well over your holiday weekend and everyone was able to get some rest in between Christmas and the New Year day and was able to enjoy and bring their New Year in their own special way. I want to do today's video on credit. I believe credit is something that we underestimate the value of. It is like your financial reputation, your money report card. Credit is like money in the bank. That's a quote that my grandfather always said when I was growing up. He said, "Baby, good credit is like money in the bank." I didn't know what that meant over the course of the years, but I've come to learn what that means as a responsible adult. And essentially, I just wanted to share some tips with you guys on how I built my credit. I haven't quite hit the 800 mark, but I am almost there, guys. I am literally almost there. And it's at no fault to anyone but me because I get to the point where I want to be a little frivolous with my money because I'm so used to being financially responsible that that's boring. Sometimes I do want to splurge and that affects my credit report. So here's some tips for you guys on how to obtain good credit and how to keep it once you get it, because it really is important. If you want to buy a car, if you want to purchase a property, if you need a personal loan for something, this will matter when you go to request money from a loan officer. So tip number one is have the income so that you can be able to pay off the credit that you borrowed. There is nothing worse than having open lines of credit, using those open lines of credit, and then not being able to make the payments. Which brings me to point number two. You want to establish good credit once you have secured a way of paying the credit back. And what I mean by that is not all credit is good credit. We can have credit that looks poor on our credit report if we've been late with our national grid bill, if a landlord reports you for not paying your rent on time, cell phone company reports you. That's all credit. But if you're not paying it off in a timely manner, it's not the credit you want on your credit report. So good credit is positive hits on your credit report. If you go car shopping, go around a certain time, the same time. So if you go to a dealership on March 1st, go to the next dealership on March 2nd, and subsequently every day from that date within, let's say, a 5 to 10 period of time. Because if you shop on March 1st and then you go shop again on April 1st, those are separate hits against you, and then they're going to be like, what's going on? And you could get dinged for that. So definitely you want to, as you're trying to establish credit so that you can obtain these things that you want to obtain, such as a car, you want to make sure your credit is good. And one of the best ways to establish good credit is to open a line of credit and do so that you're paying it off as you're using it. So I basically established my first line of credit through like a department store card. I think it was filings. And also a gas card is how I helped my significant other establish great credit. So if you get a gas card, gas is something we always need if you have a vehicle. And the best way to do that is to use the card and then immediately pay it off as if you never used the card anyway. Because we almost always are going to pay with our personal finances in order to get gas. So you want to swipe that gas card and then pay it off. So that's a way to establish good credit. Department store cards, or even get one credit card. I didn't get my first credit card until I was 30 because I was that afraid of messing up my credit score that I wanted to make sure I was financially responsible before embarking on that credit journey. Tip number three, pay the bill. But don't just pay the bill anytime you feel like it. You gotta pay the bill on time, folks. Because if you don't, 30 days, 60 days, 90 days, they will be reporting to the credit bureaus, those 3 credit bureaus, that you are behind, and you definitely do not want that. The other tip I have is to avoid having too many open lines of credit. And what I mean by that is you have a gas card, you have a department store card, multiple department store cards. You done went to Macy's, you done got a Penny's card, you done went to TJ Maxx and they told you you could save money by opening their card. Don't do it. It's a trap. It sounds good, but it's not good if you're trying to build a decent credit report. I went with one card. I don't even have the gas card anymore. So I have literally one credit card that I can use wherever. It's okay if I don't save the specific percentage by opening a card with that account, because it's only a one-time offer anyway, and I probably purchased on clearance, so I saved myself some money. So just get you one card that you can use across all avenues, whether it be gas, department stores, maybe even pay a bill with it or something like that. I'm sorry, the benefit of that is that you can build rewards through your credit card company. So whether it be miles or discounts, I know my credit card is attached to my Amazon account. So if I go to make purchases and I have rewards on there, they'll apply it to my purchase and deduct from my balance. So that is helpful in that way. Another thing you want to do is minimize how much credit you are using. So if you have a credit limit of 5,000, don't go make up to 3,000 or 4,000 worth of purchases, because in the credit bureau's mind, you're being financially irresponsible and you're using up every bit of credit, open lines of credit that you have. So you want to keep your balances low. So if it's a 5,000 credit limit, maybe only use 1,000 or 1,500 and then pay that off as quickly as you can. Always want to pay your balances as quickly as you can. The longer they linger, the worse it looks on your credit report. Another thing is keep the longest running credit account. So if you started off with a gas card and then, they suckered you in, you got a really good deal on the department store card, and you already had one major credit card in college because you thought it was the cool thing to do. Now you're like, I really want to minimize how many open accounts I have. Keep the longest running one open and close the shorter term ones, because that one helps you build up your financial responsibility in terms of a time frame. They want to see how long you've had open lines of credit and if you've been responsible all that time, because it looks better if you had 10 years of credit history and you might have been late with a couple payments, as opposed to having 1 year and you were late with a couple of payments. So that comparison does matter. So if you need to close something, close the newer ones first and keep the longest one open. All right, I hope that makes sense to everyone. And then what you want to do, I cannot stress this enough, guys. Protect your credit like you protect your reputation, like you protect your character, like you protect your credentials, your driver's license, your bachelor's degree. Don't go co-signing shit for people, and don't go letting people use your credit card for anything. That is probably the worst mistake you can make. I got burnt like that before. I got cell phones for two people. Bills weren't paid. They were paid late, paid when they want to be paid. And that fucked me over ultimately, because like I said, I'm financially responsible. I know when my bills are due, so I pay them. And when you do things for people who don't do that, it ruins your credit. And my rule of thumb is, if you can't go to a bank and get an open line of credit, or you can't go to that cell phone store and get your own cell phone, or if you can't go obtain your own gas card, don't ask me to do it, because I'm trying to protect what I'm building. And the only people I'm taking that risk for is my children, which is another tip I want to say. It's not about building credit or maintaining it, but if you have great credit and you want to put your child or your significant other on, and you want them to also have good credit, you can do what you call the authorized user on the credit card. This is one of the biggest tips that people don't realize. So being that I have a long-running, great established credit, I will put my children on as authorized users, so that that credit history can carry over to their social security number. And whatever I have been doing that's great will now look like they've been doing it that's great as well. So again, those are some tips. I'll run through them really quick. You want to have income to be able to for the debt you're going to accumulate through the credit card. You definitely want to establish good credit. Not only establish good credit, but make sure you pay your bills on time, because that's going to help you keep that good credit you establish. You don't want to have too many open lines of credit or spend too much on your credit card. So we want to minimize how much credit you're using at one time. You also want to keep the longest running credit card open and close the ones that you had for a short period of time, and protect your credit. Don't give it away. Don't loan it out. Don't get suckered into doing something nice for somebody who couldn't even get it for themselves. Trust me, I know. I lived it. I've learned it, and I'll never do it again. And I hope you won't either. And don't start. If somebody asks you, just say no, folks. So those are Mrs. Lips tips on having a great credit score. Like 20 points away from being 800, might even be 15 now because a big part of my debt is gone. So I'll hope to maintain that great credit score unless I choose to do something really irresponsible, which I doubt I would do if I haven't been that way thus far. So I hope you guys found this helpful. I hope you've learned something. There's plenty of videos on there about how to go about doing the things that I've said. So I'm not going to reinvent the wheel. Feel free to go ahead and do your research. But I hope these basic tips are just something to get your brain going. It's only the third day of the first month of the year, and it's plenty of time to affect good change in your life. So utilize these tips, go on and get your credit score up and be a baddie, okay? Good luck, take care, peace, y'all.